afternoon, everyone.
Good
Praise be
afternoon,
to
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, ma'am.
praise be Jesus and Mary. Okay, so
Amen forever.
based on the survey that I've given last meeting, I've decided to tweak a little bit of the outline of our course. But instead, yung day 2 natin na topic, I've assessed it na pwede man siya ma-move siya by next meeting. Okay, so day 1, week 2. Day 1 of week 2. And it will be difficult also since majority of you are not familiar with the Python programming language. Then I decided to take like an hour and a half or maybe an hour, it depends on the question, to give an overview. We cannot really discuss, or I cannot really discuss everything that you can do with Python because there are really a lot of things that you can do with Python. But what I will be discussing this afternoon is basically it's not basic, but it's something that we will be using for the next few meetings. And then other methods or other libraries, ano na lang siya. Every topic na kailangan nato siya, dito na ako siya i-introduce. But now, for next meeting, we will be using this kailangan dyan na to og a strong foundation with Python programming. Okay, so tanan tani agi naman ta og programming language and a programming subject and object-oriented programming. So it won't be difficult for you to understand some of the concepts. So like say, for example, I'm going to say it's a class, then you would understand what's a class and what's a method, the difference between a method and a class. And if we're going to create a function, then it would be easier for you to do that. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to share my screen. Wait lang ha. Wait lang. I don't know if it's clearer, pero adjust na ako ang size niya. Pero sige, klaro man siguro siya, no? Okay, so I hope it's readable, no? So, have you tried exploring Colab? Kinsa nag-try og explore sa Colab? Okay, so if wala, I'm going to introduce to you kay Leila tamo kay Colab. So this is Colab and you can access Colab by going to colab.research.google.com, and then if you are signed in already with your UIC account, then you will be directed to the Colab environment. So you just create a new Python notebook or new notebook to um, create a program or do some programming using this environment. Okay, so why is it that we will be using Colab? Because its server is actually naka-remote siya, and when we do training machine learning models, when we train machine learning models, it will be easier for us since we will not be using our own resource or the resource of our computer unit, but we will be using the resources of the remote server. So you can access it here. Okay, sa mga ingana niya. So you can also use local runtime if you want, pero I would suggest na we use the whatever is available or given to us. So it's not always, so like say for example, this time we are given not sure ha kung tama niya ako okay, so wala pa siya na-install. But we can actually see kung saan na type of, let's say, GPU ang ginagamit na to karon pag mugamit ta og GPU. Okay, so when we say GPU, it's our graphics processing unit. Mas maayo siya gamiton compared, mas okay siya kung i-combine nato siya with a high CPU as well. So makita nimo na diri sa runtime, and then change runtime type kung unsa na type of accelerator, hardware accelerator ang gusto niyo mong gamiton. By default, naka-CPU na siya. So if you wanted to use a GPU, pwede niyo muna siya i-set the array. So later on, pag mo duel na ta og mga bugat na data, we'll be using this one. And then, medyo dili na ta mo gamit og TPU. Okay, so either CPU or GPU. So for our activity karon, simple Python program lang man siya, we will just be using CPU. Okay? So ato. And then what else? If we are going to reach the portion that we'll be using or we will be doing file manipulation, we can also add files here in Colab. So you just simply click this one or click this one. So diri na makitaan ang sections sa currently available na file, and then click this one to check or to upload a file. So dali lang mag-upload ng file, just simply click this one, or we can also connect to our Google Drive. So kung ato ang mga files nasa Google Drive, dali lang siya i-connect diari sa Colab. So meaning, dili na to kailangan na mag-upload og mga isa-isa ka file diari. Okay, so it would be easier for us to access the file pag nasa sa Google Drive. But as per experience, in terms of accessibility, in terms of speed, mas paspa siya pag naka-locally uploaded siya diari sa Colab. Instead of us nag-access sa to ang Google Drive. Okay? So kato. And karon dili sa nato ni siya magamit, but in our future activities magamit nato ni siya na section sa Colab. Okay? So this afternoon we'll be focusing on I will be introducing you to Python, and then maybe some of you very kanang experience na in doing Python programming, but as what the survey had, as the result of the survey last meeting, daghan pa og dili or never been introduced to Python. Okay, so gato lang. So why Python? Python is a beginner's language. So actually, some schools na mga international na mga schools na nag-introduce na computer programming sa mga elementary students pa lang, Python yun na ang ilang ginagamit. They actually do not just simply dive into Java, which is a really very medyo intricate kayo siya na programming language, no? And then beginner's language siya because you don't really need to care about memorizing or knowing the data type. Okay, so dili nimo kailangan na okay, kailangan ako siya i-declare as string, kailangan ako siya i-declare as as an integer. Kailangan ako siya i-declare as float beforehand, which is something that we do with Java. But with Python, you just have to declare it as an integer.
Hello, ma'am. Nawala ka, ma'am.
Variable and ha? Question?
Rag, nawala ka kadyot, ma'am.
Nawala ko?
Opo, pero sa yun,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Karon okay na?
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Klaro ba akong tingog?
Yes,
Dili
ma'am.
kayo. Okay, sige. Sige. Mayan na no, pag-interrupt ko ninyo na pag dili na ko klaro. Kesa, sige, go. So, kato siya, beginner's language siya. And then, it's a really, compared man good as per experience, no? And I know na experience with ninyo, with Java man good, medyo daghan jud kayo siya o daghan jud kayo tag kailangan na mahibalaan syntactically, yung mga syntax pa lang niya, daghan dapat na dapat hanas gid ta. But with Python man good, more on ang ginatest gid sa imuha is the way you understand and how you are going to implement the program given a problem. Okay? So, kato siya. So, I will be introducing you some of the basics na pwede na itong buhaton using Python. And then, object-oriented po siya because we can create objects based on, same gihapon siya kay Java. It's just that, as for me, and if you're going to read literatures, mas sayon dun siya pag kay Python. And then, interpreter siya. So, when we say interpreter siya, like per line i-execute dayon na niya na line of code, whereas kung i-compare nimo siya sa compiler, pag compiler man good, like say for example Java, basahon sa niya tanan code tapos read niya na siya and compile it according to how Java is created. Okay, before na niya, so katong mag-create na siya dot class niya and so on and so forth. Before na niya i-execute. So faster siya ang execution niya. Okay? And then interactive, of course, kay dali lang gid kayo nimo makitaan or mahibalaan ang results sa imong problem. Ang makita lang nato na problem diri pag interpreter man good is that dili kaayo siya ing ana ka good in terms of identifying kung asa jud ka dapit nagkamali. Okay, so basically, kailangan din mo siya i-trace and subtune how the program flows para ma-debug din mo siya. Okay, so although na may mga advanced kayo ng mga debugger karon, like say for example, if you're going to use VS Code na editor, okay, nindot siya na debugger po. But for this one, pag mag-collab ta, kailangan pa nato i-manual code para maka-debug ta. Okay? Although na maghatag na siya kanina line of code, nagkamali ka ani sa ingani, pero dili gina niya exact og ingon asa jud ka nagkamali di ara banda. Okay, so kana siya. Python identifiers. So same with other programming language, ang class nato will start with capital letter or uppercase, and then ang mga methods or variable names, other identifiers will start with a lowercase. A starting identifier with a single leading underscore, if you're going to look at some other Python code, pag makakita gani mo ang mga variable names na na single leading underscore, indicates that the identifier is private to that class. Okay? Or private to that, depende. Kung nasa sa sulod sa isa ka method, then it's private to that method. Starting identifier with two leading underscores, strongly private siya. And then if the identifier also ends with a two trailing underscore, the identifier is a language-defined special name. And then line and indentation, we don't use curly braces in Python. Okay, well, like curly braces. And we identify that this is one block using an indentation. So pag naka-indent na siya, ang kalinya niya sa kana na indentation will be one block. That's one block. Okay, so kani po siya ang isa sa mga medyo lisod po pag mag-error kay Python kay wala ka balo, wala na din nagtupong ang imong mga kanisya na block, mag-error na siya. Or, hindi siya mag-error but ang logical flow sa imong program dili na magkalimao kay na siya sa separate block. Okay? So kana siya ang blocking niya. Okay, so that's for the introduction about Python. So variables and data types. Okay, so you can if you can open Colab and then you can copy the codes na naadi-ari para matry po ninyo siya implement. Okay, so variables and data types in Python. So we have numbers. So when we say numbers, it could be either integer or a float or decimal with decimal point. So kani siya, it's an integer, and this one is a decimal with decimal point, floating point siya na type of variable. Okay, so ingani lang na siya, mag-declare ka. Ingani lang ka mag-declare of number sa Python. String. Ingani lang po ka mag-declare of string sa Python. Okay? In terms of quotations, single quote and double quote, wala sila difference. So, whether it's a character, so kung nag-ingon ka diri og varchar, tapos niingon ka diri A, okay lang gyapon na siya, accepted na siya. So, there's no difference between a single quote and a double quote. Okay, so that's for string type variables. Next is a list. Okay, so this is a type of variable that is mutable. So meaning, so when you say list man good, more siya literally listahan. Listahan of different values or different elements. So we call all the values inside a list as an element of that list. Okay? So say for example, this one, ABC with a string data type is an element of var list. 1, 2, 3 with an integer or a number na data type is an element of var list. Okay? Now, naka-index po ni siya. So, meaning, this element is at index 0 and this element is at index 1. So, kung i-compare natin siya kay Java, it's like an array. Okay? It's like an array. It's just that the way Java treats array, kung unsa ang data type na gi-declare nimo sa isa ka array, so say for example, in array num, tanan elements or values inside that array, naka-integer siya dapat. While, when we use list, kani siya, you can put any type, any data type inside a list. Kani siya. So, it's a mutable object, meaning dili siya the next time you print var list, pwede na si 1, 2, 3 ang mauna, pwede si ABC ang sunod. And also, when we say list, variable size siya, meaning pwede ka mag-add na pud og bag-o na element sa iyaha. Okay, so natay method for adding values in a list. Okay? So, kato siya. So, mo ni siya ang list. Which is something na isa ni siya sa favorite na ko na data type. Okay, kani siya kay permintigid ako ni siya magamit na data type. Okay? Next is a tuple. Tuple is tuple is an immutable object. So when we say immutable, you cannot change the elements inside the tuple. So when it is fixed siya as a fixed size. Okay? When you declare a variable with tuple elements, kani siya, kung ang iyahang nature is tuple siya, mo gini siya ang iyahang pagkasunod-sunod the entire time you will be using this tuple. Okay? Mo ni siya yung pagkasunod-sunod and maulang pud gid ni siya ang values niya. Okay? So maulang gid ni siya ang elements inside the tuple. Okay? So again, kaya siya medyo tricky ni siya pag gamiton na nato siya sa code. Again, list, pwede siya mag-usab-usab, pwede nimo siya dagdagan, pwede nimo siya bawasan, pwede pud maglahi-lahi ang sequence niya inside the list. While a tuple, fixed na siya. Okay? And when you look at the difference, kani ang ginagamit nato for list while kay tuple is kani siya. So may bala nimo pag nakaingani siya, tuple na siya. Pag nakaingani siya, naka-list na siya. Okay? So what if, question, so what if ma'am, wala kami kabalo kung unsa mong isulod sa var list, unsa na mo pag-declare og list. So you just simply say var list, tapos, ana lang. Tapos kung tuple po siya, na. Okay, so wala pa sulod. So mag-loop tab para masudlan nato siya na og mga values. Okay? And this is how you comment a line in Python. Okay. So that's a list and this is a tuple. Next is for me, most powerful na type of data type sa Python, which is the dictionary. Okay, so dictionary is a key value pair na data type. It has a key and it has a value. For example, this one, and curly brace ang iyahang symbol to know na this variable is a dictionary. Okay, using a curly brace. So as what I've said, it's a key value pair. So mo ni siya ang key niya and then mo ni ang value. So again, this is the key and this is the value. So isipan ni mo, murag siya dictionary. Dictionary has the word and its meaning or its definition, di ba? So kani siya na siya kung unsa tong word and kung unsa yung definition. And same with list, you can add elements inside a dictionary with varying data type. So for example, kani ang key ni mo diri is string. The second element, ang key niya is string. Pero the third element, ang key niya is an integer. Pwede na siya. Okay? Ang dili lang pwede is magka pareha-pareha ang dapat unique ang imong ibutang sa dictionary. Kaya kung naana siya duplication, mag-error na siya pag sa dictionary. Okay? Values. You can also put any data type sa values. Okay? So pwede ka kaning first element nimo is a list. 2, 3. Tapos close. Tapos pwede pod, kani siya. Ang var niya is 3. What if magdagdag ta og isa ka item, say var 2 is equals to, it's a tuple, say 3, 4, 5. Okay? So pwede nato na siya idagdag diri na si 4 nato is a tuple. Or pwede po, kung wala nimo siya gi-initialize sa taas, wala nimo siya gi-declare sa taas, pwede ka diri ka mag-insert of values. Ana. Okay? Tanggalan na to siya diri. Okay? So our dictionary now has 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then of different data types. So pwede niya siya. Okay? Yan na. So this is how you declare a dictionary kung wala pa sulod yung dictionary. And to access an element inside a dictionary, pwede siya ingani yun. Okay? Ma'am, how to access an element in a list? Ngayon mo siya pag-access of element. So as what I have said, naka-index na siya. So kung yung buhaton. So kung gusto niyo siya i-retrieve at index 0. Okay, so later dagan tag example para Okay, so kani siya dictionary, and to get the element of a certain key in the dictionary, ingani mo siya pagpasok, i-change na to siya, so dili na ni mao ang iyahang value karon. Okay? And then kani siya second, kung kuan na to ang key na to, mo ni siya ang igawas niya. And then pag kuan na to ang second. Okay? And then kani siya is kung unsang value niya, ang igawas ani niya would be 3. Dapat. Okay? So, kana siya pag different elements in accessing an element in a dictionary. So, kung i-print natin ni sila tanan, unsang yung itsura? So, 1, 2, 3, kani siya. Print nato siya si print A, and then gi-print po nato si pi, which is 3.14, and then si var string, hello world, print var text, this is a string. Kinsa man ni si ABC 1, 2, 3? Kani siya. Okay, si var list. Okay, so kani siya. Var tuple, ABC 1, 2, 3. So tanawon ninyo, mag-differ ang iyahang kanang closing and ending na mga symbol. And then, var dictionary, kung tanawin mo siya, wala siya. Okay? Next, arithmetic operations. To do arithmetic operation in Python, same lang yapon siya kung ginaunsan mo siya sa other programming language. So, we use the symbol for addition. We use the symbol for subtraction. We use the symbol for multiplication. And then we use the symbol for exponent. Okay? And then we use the symbol for division. And then we use the symbol for modulo. Modulo, it will return the remainder. Floor division, what's the difference between, there will be times wherein ang gamitan nato is floor division, meaning gusto lang mo kaon ang whole number. Okay? So, floor division, you use integer division pag ang whole number lang ang imong kaon, dili nimo kailangan ang iyahang remainder or ang decimal points niya. Okay? To increment or decrement, you use this one. Dili, wala tayong h++, h minus minus sa Python. And then, to decrement, we use this one. Minus equal plus equal. Okay? So, kung mag-multiplication ka, so this is equivalent to j is equals to j times 1. Okay? So, magingana na siya. Muna siya equivalent niya. Shortened version lang niya siya. Okay, so instead of using this, you can use this. Next is, same po na siya. Kung kani siya is k is equals to k divided by 1. So, if we are going to print that one, okay, so muna yung iyahang mga result. Okay, so what if gusto niyo mag-round off? Pag taas kayo na decimal point, kinsa man na nga decimal. Kanina siya for sure. Okay, so kung gusto niyo i-round ang iyahang result, you can use the round na method. Kani siya, gamit kayo ni siya. So, you call the variable na gusto niyo i-round, and then kung pila ka decimal places ang imong gusto i-round, imong gusto kaon sa iyaha. So, if you're going to print that one, call niya ang 2 decimal places. Okay? So, i-round off na niya diretso tapos 2 decimal places. Pwede na siya 3, 4, and 5 depende sa number of decimals na gina-require. Okay? So that is for arithmetic operations. Okay, so kung hindi masabtan ha, please do feel free to interrupt me. Okay? So you can try this one. Sige daw. I'll try to call someone later. Using a simple Python code, ipa-print na ko sa chat group kung yun sa nimo pag-solve or yun sa unsaon nimo ni siya using a Python code. You convert this formula, like say you are given this formula, unsaon nimo siya, you create a program that will implement or will have this kind of function or can implement this function. This is actually a sigmoid function. So it's a g of z is equals to 1 over 1 plus e raised to the power of negative z. Okay, so sige daw. I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes and then I'll call someone kung saan mo niya siya pag-implement. Using only the operations that I had introduced. Kung nanay ready, pwede mo mag-volunteer. I would appreciate kung nanay mag-volunteer. Okay, 1 minute and I'm going to call someone. Okay, so let's have Ronel Villamil. Ronel, William Gill. Ang saan man mo siya pag-solve? Ronel? Wala. How about, wala yung volunteer? Kobe. Wala. Okay. So, sirit na lang. Okay, um, so to do this, dalan sa natin eh. Okay? So, you can actually specify kung sa ito ang input variable. So, we have z as our input or the value of our input here. So when we have a function, di ba? G of z is a function. So meaning this is our output. The output of g of z is equals to 1 over 1 plus e raised to the power of negative z. Now, our expected input would be the value of your z. Okay? So we have to declare a variable that will accept a value of your z, and then we specify here, I specified here sa 1 ug 2 na ang value ni E is 2.718. So this is actually, ano na siya, static value na siya. Okay? So to use these two available data that we have, these two variables z and a, we have a function called, say, sigmoid function, or this one. So you can use any variable name for this one, doesn't matter. So gipangalan ako siya sigmoid function is equals to 1 over, so nag-divide na. So again, division, divide, open and close parenthesis, 1 plus, so muna siya ang imong denominator, 1 plus e. So ato ang exponent ganina, again, dire, diba? Exponent raised to the power of our negative z. Okay? So, ingana lang siya. So, kung tanggalan nato ni siya na line dira, 3 lines lang gid siya technically. Okay? 3 lines lang na siya to have this certain code. Okay? Pwede pa gani, specify ni mo ang values yung mga but I would advise for better, good practice na mag-declare ka of variable. Okay? So that's how you solve this one. So when you are asked to create a program that for this specific function, okay, or mathematical expression, you should be able to implement it. Okay, using a Python. So, kana siya. So it's a matter of really understanding how this function works. So what if dagana na siya mga parenthesis di ara? Okay, so kana siya. Sana siya sa dapat nato isipon rin pagayo. Okay, so those are the basic operations, arithmetic operations of Python. So far, question for the arithmetic operations before we proceed with control statements and loops.
None, ma'am.
Okay, none. Next, we have control statements and conditional statements. Okay, so we have Boolean conditions, so you can use this one. Say, for example, you declare a variable called x, and then the value is a Boolean value, say true. Okay, so pwede nimo na siya, dili na nimo siya kailangan og katong double equal sign. And say, if x is equals to true, pwede na siya dili. Because conditional statement, if this is true, then i-print ni niya, else, kaniyang iyang i-print. Okay, so valid ni siya na Python statement. You can also create a conditional statement with string conditions. So say for example, x is equals to hello world. If x is equals to hello world, then print this one, else this one. Okay? So pwede ni siya, valid ni siya na statement kay Python. Next is we have x is equals to 10, for example. So this is a numeric value. Okay, so if x is equals to 10, var is a string. If x is equals to this one, var is an integer. Else, so on and so forth. Okay, so you can do this one. It's just a simple conditional it's a simple implementation of conditions in Python. Okay, so later as we go along with our lessons, daghan pa ng possible na way na pwede na to i-implement ang if statement. Pwede lang ganun na siya, one line lang na siya tanan, with loops na. Okay, but this time, para dili lang kayo ta maano sa iya ha, mawindang sa iya ha, we'll just use this simple implementation sa conditional statements. Okay, magamit niyo siya later as activity. Okay? Next, loops. Okay, so for loop. So we're familiar with for loop. So sayon kayo siya kay Python for, let's say, ang common na ginagamit niya rin nato, no, x. But we'll be using for var in range. So when you say range, na kay start, asa ka magsugod? Because you can start with 2, 1, or 3, 4, and 5. Depende sa imo kung asa ka gusto mag-start sa imong loop. Okay? Dili siya necessarily mean nga 0 dayon siya mag-start. That is, ano na siya? That is the advantage of an interpreter. And then, hantod asa nimo siya, hantod asa ang imong gusto na i-loop, hantod asa ka, so mo ni mo ang stopping mechanism, so range, and then increment. Now, pwede ba nawala ning uban? Pwede. Okay, so pwede na siya nawala ka increment as long as by default, kung one value lang ang imong ibutang dira, like say 5 lang, automatic this will be treated as the range. Okay, so wala kay start mechanism. By default, mag-start siya of 0. Okay? So kung range lang yung mga gibutang diara, automatic 0 ang iyahang start, and then ang default na increment niya is 1. Okay? Except na lang kung mag-add ka dire og statement na var plus equals 2 or say, okay? So 3, pwede na siya, 3 ang imuhang values di array or parameters di array. Tapos kani siyang yung increment. Okay? And then we also have while loop in Python. So nga ni siya, same with other programming language. Say you have a variable and initial value niya is 0. So while var is less than 5, print this one and then money ang increment. Okay, so range, initial value, range, increment. And this is your nested loop. This is how you implement a nested loop in Python. Okay? Now, kani siya, dili ni siya kailangan, pag gusto nimo ang y lang yun ang imuhang i-print. But if you want to see how it progresses as it loops through a certain range, butangan nimo na siya ging ani na delimiter. Okay? So this is how it looks like. If you're going to print that one, ingani na niyang itsura sa kaning nested na to, na example, with this one. Pag wala ning end na delimiter man god, or wala ni siya na kato siya na value, ang iyahang itsura ana would be something like this one. Okay? So na to. So that's it for the conditional and loops. Now we have the list. So how do we make changes sa to ang list na nag-implement kanina. So for example, we have a variable named pi, and then we have a var list, a variable name na var list, tas mo yung elements. Okay? So these are the elements of var list. If we are going to print var list at element 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the expected result would be the value of your pi. So if you're going to print that one, so the value would be 3.1416. But if we can also just simply print siya, var list to print all values, or what's the value, all the values inside your elements. Okay? Kani siya, pwede na ni siya wala, kaning print na method, pag collab. Okay? Pwede na ni mo i-diretso lang print var list. Pero pag mo gamit kani kag mga editor sa imong PC, okay, kailangan jud to nimo siya. Kani siya gana lang ni siya pag dili sa collab. Okay, pwede ka mag-print na ingana lang. Dili na gini mo kailangan specify ang print. Pero para maanad ta, because not all editors are will accept this. Okay, so again, to access an element in a list, din na to siya say 3. So at index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So expected that is letter B. Ayan, i-print. Now, how to add an element in a list? You use the word append. So if you want to add a new element in the list, say world, you append it to your list. So var list that append world. Okay, so if we are going to print or we are going to execute this one, madagdag na siya sa pinaka-last ang world na element. Okay? Now, if we want to print the, this next. If we want to know the number of elements in our list, we just simply use len. Okay? So, ano siya? So these are some of the things that you can do. And then you can also use the method remove to erase the first value that matches the parameter. So, example, sa imong list na kay duha, because list is not really very strict with whatever are the elements that you are adding in the list. Kung unsa tong first instance nga digawa sa imong value or element na gusto i-remove, mo na siyang ihang i-remove. So if I'm going to say var list.remove pi, okay, so this is how you remove an element in a list. And then I'm going to execute that one. And then let's try to view the elements in our var list. Ay, wala naman dahil si pi. Kanina lang. Okay. Let's add a new code diri sa baba. Let's print var list. Kana siya. So wala na to si 3.1416. Okay? So kana. So nag-error to siya kay wala naman tayo pi ganina, tapos nag-remove ta og pi, so ibig sabihin kailangan niyo mo siya i-catch na ing ato na mga error. So if wala ni siya na value inside the list, dapat mag-prompt siya na this element is not in the list. Okay? So mo na to siya ang imuhang list. Those are the different operations that you can do if you have a variable that is of type list. Okay? Next is a dictionary. Okay? So, this is one of the most powerful na type of variables sa Python because it acts like a database. So, na siya key. So, ang key niya is mo na siya mong ID, and then the values would be your elements inside your kato siya na dictionary. Okay, so as what I have said a while ago, pwede ka maging ani og declare daan mag-initialize ka or mag-declare ka og mga elements sa inside sa imong dictionary. And then to access a certain element inside the dictionary, you can use this one. Okay? So, the key ang imong input, the array. So if you're going to implement this one using a loop, ang imong ipangsulod nimo di array is ang key niya. So ang iyahang i-print na result would be the values inside that dictionary. Okay? Next, you can also, as what I have said, ganina in our previous commands, na dictionary could accept any data type. Okay, so any data type ang key, any data type ang imuhang values. Again, nga niya, para clear lang ato ang picture. So this is your dictionary, and your dictionary is a key value na pair. Okay, key and then value. Again, the key should be unique. The values, pwede siya magbalik-balik. Okay? So, ang key lang nimo ang dapat ang unique. Now, so let's say for example this one. How do we add a new element in a dictionary? Okay? We have here two variables, say list A, and we have a second list which is B. Ang kaniyang ilahang mga elements of different data types. Okay? Kung tanawin nato siya of different, kani siya is numeric, and then kani siya is a character or string. So to add these two lists inside the dictionary, we use the word update. Okay? Lahi siya kay list because kay list, to add a new list, to add new element in a list, we use the word append. Kay dictionary, update. Okay? Nga namang wala tayong ani kay tuple. It's because tuple is immutable. So, dili na nato ma-update. So, di ta maka-add og new element kay tuple. Okay, so, kato siya. So, by dictionary, if you wanted to add a new element in the dictionary, dapat ang iyang values is a key value pair pud na siya. So, let's say, for example, this one, we wanted to update var dit update 4, tapos ang values niya is kaning values ni list A. And then, we wanted to add again var dit, and then ang iyang key is 5, and then ang values niya is kaning values ni list B. Okay, so let's try to print here kani si verdict diare kung saan niya ang itsura. Okay, so ang iyang itsura is that natay key value, key value, key value. Okay, so mo nang iyahang sulod sa to ang dictionary sa kanisa na implementation. But then in this execution, we updated the dictionary and we added 4 and 5 keys with values list A and list B. If we're going to print this one, just execute this one, run. Mo na ang iyang sulod. Madagdag na si 4 and madagdag na po si 5, which are list ang ilahang type. So, pwede nimo na siya buhaton. Okay? So, how do we, kani siya. So, what if, diliing ani ang ato ang pagka-add sa iyaha? There's another way to add new values in the dictionary. Example, nakay ngani, pair, entry, tanawan nimo, list siya, si pair, ang data type ni pair is a list, kay saman siya, ka-bracket siya. Now, inside the list, ang sulod na element sa list is nakatuple. Nakunin mo siya. So this is how amazing it is to use a list. Kaya pwede ka makagamit of another data type inside the list. So kung tayo mo siya nakatopol, nga naman, gigamit na ako diri kay nakatopol siya. Kaya gusto na ako, dili siya magbalhin-balhin. Kaya gusto na ako, ang kani siya na element inside this tuple is would indicate na ID ni siya, and then this one would be the name of the student. Kani siya is ID, kani siya kay name, kani siya kay ID, kani siya kay name. So this pair list has 3 elements where each element is composed of 2 elements, which is ako ang implementation. This is would signify that this is an ID, and this one would signify that this is the name of the student. Okay? So, kung I don't know kung may agi na mo og database, no, kanang mga relational type of databases. So, na kay ID, tapos na kay name, tapos kung magbutang kag age, pwede naman na siya imutang diara. So, mura lang na siya gingani. 1, tapos, 15, sige, gamiton na lang nato ano siya. 10025, tapos, butangan nato na siya, sige, tanggalan na lang siya. Malaman itong ibutang sa list. So, mura na siya gingani, 10026, tapos May, tapos the other one, 10027, tapos adla. So, kani siya na series of elements inside our pair list, mura na siya gingani. Okay? So, na kay ID, na kay name, na kay ID. So, the correct way, wait lang, the way, dili ta magpataka o kaning gid ako ang mapansin, naiuban na since si list is very lenient lang siya, perminti na list ang ginagamit sa uban. Which is something na dili nato siya dapat gamiton di ari. Say, let's say, nagbutang siya list, kani siya ang implementation niya is list. Kaya lagi, sequence of variable siya or sequence of elements, so gibutang niya as list, which is something na dili gid siya dapat. Kay, gusto nato, true to all cases na ang sequence niya, dili mag-usab-usab. That the first element should be the ID and the second element should be the name. So, dili ta magpataka o gamit o data type. Okay? So, we really need to think, again, programming requires analysis, kung dapat siya list, butan mo siya list, kung pwede na siya na list. Pero kung dapat siya nakatopol, dapat nakatopol siya. Okay, problema na siya, pag i-run na nimo siya, hindi na magka-baliktad-baliktad ang yung result. Okay, so careful ta in choosing what type of data nga to ang gamiton. Okay, so kana siya. Okay, so to look, kung na naman kainganin na data, okay, for example, tagaan ka mo isa ka file nga naisulod, na ing ato ang sulod niya, katong akong gipakita ganina na example, dapat kaya na ninyo siya ma-implement as something like this one. Okay, so to look all through this data type, all through the elements inside pair, pwede ta mo gamit og ingani. Okay? So, kung tanawin ninyo ha, si for loop, dili ta nagamit og in range, which is different siya sa itong gigamit diari. Kaya pag in range, mag-specify ka hantod asa. Pag for, tapos variable, in range, magbutang kag range diara. Pero, pwede pud ka maging ani sa for loop. Mag-for ka, mag-iterate ka, inside a list. Okay? So, inside a list lang ka pwede mag-iterate. Okay, so, yung ano siya. For x, so your variable in pair, in list pair, so ibig sabihin mag-iterate siya sa pair na list. So, first, mo ito siya dire, then mo siya dire, then mo siya dire. Okay? So, mo na ang iyang iteration. So, in each iteration, ang atong buhaton is that i-update nato si verdict. So, meaning mag-add na kay verdict na variable or kay dictionary na verdict, of which ang sulod niya would be kani siya. For each iteration, mo man siya ang imong x. Automatic mo ni siya ang ipasa kay x. Okay? So, first iteration, for x in pair, ang sulod ni x is 10025, Christine. So, duha siya ka-element. So, to access these two elements, ang kaning first element is at index 0. So, again, mo ni siya si x. So, x0 is 10025, x1 is Christine. Okay? So, muna siya ang first iteration niya. Nag-second iterate si x kay pair. So, x, niyanto siya diari. Second iteration niya. Karon, ang x na pud nato, ang x0 is kani siya, ang x1 kay kani siya. Okay? The next iteration na po nato, so where x is equals to 2 na siya. So we go to the index na 2, 0, 1, 2. So muna ni siya karon ang sulod ni x. So to access the elements inside x, kuha nato ni x at index 0 o x at index 1. And then we update our dictionary, isulod na to siya kay dictionary. So expected na kani siya ng mga values masulod na po siya kay dictionary. So kung i-print nato ning kato ganina gi-print naman nato ning dictionary, no? Okay, so mo ang sulod sa to ang verdict at this point. At this point, since we use the same var dictionary, pag i-print nato siya, ma-add na ning 10025, 10026, 10027. Okay? So, kato siya sa dictionary. And then, to iterate through a dictionary, kung gusto lang nimo makita each element in a dictionary, pwede niyo siya ingani mo gamiton. Okay? So, kung ano mo siya pag-print. So, same lang na siya ani. Same siya ani except that i-print na to siya isa-isa. Print na to siya isa-isa and then we customize it na nakaingani siya. Kaya na siya ingani. Okay? And then each dictionary. Nag-add ka value, to update the value in a dictionary, you need to know the key kung saan mo ang i-update. Okay, so for example, kani si 10025, so instead of Christine, gusto na ko siya i-update to Rose. Kaya nagkamali ko, dili din na siya si Christine. So, ang ano lang mo, but you need to know the key. Okay? So you need to know the key of the element in the dictionary that you wanted to update. So nga na yung itsura. So kung i-print mo siya, may mo na siyang rows. Okay? So nga ni mag-update of value sa dictionary. How to remove an item in the dictionary? You use pop. Ang pop is automatic. Tanggalon niya sa imong dictionary ang kung unsa to na key ang imong i-enter. Okay? While pop item is kung unsa ang pinaka-last na item sa imong dictionary. Okay? And then, okay, so kani medyo ano ni siya ang slicing. Okay, so ibutang man ako ni siya sa classroom, so you are free to experiment on this later. Okay? Now, slicing. Slicing is accessing elements. So for example, you have a list of these elements 10 to 90. Okay? Slicing is actually a method in Python that allows you to not only needed information. Okay? So for example, gusto lang na ko makitaan ang sulod sa kanya siya na variable from index 2 up to 7. Okay? So, pag i-print na ko ni siya, dili tanan value sa num. Compare na to ha. Print na ko ang nums versus kung naka-slice siya. Print nums na lang. Ayan. So, versus kung naka-slice siya, mo lang yung ihang i-print. Okay? So, this is how you do it. From what index up to what index. Next, taking the first n elements. So, for example, you have this list and gusto ni mo kaon lang ang first 5, then you can use this one. Okay? So, kung i-print, execute na ko na siya, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You wanted to take the last n elements. So, last, since 2 man ang ibutang dire, so n is equals to 2. If you want to get the last 2 elements in your list, you use this one. So, if I'm going to run this, okay, so mo niya ang last 2 elements sa to ang list. If, we can also do mixed negative and positive indices in start and stop position. So if you wanted to start at index 0 and then you wanted to end at the negative 1 na element, so minus 1, so that is until 80 lang. So until 80 lang. So gusto nato mag-start sa index 1 and then sa negative 1 na element nung mag-end. So inganahan mo siya pag-print. Okay. So, kato siya. You can do the slicing. So, very helpful niya siya pag mag-matrix manipulation na ta. Kay, if you are going to consider this one as your indices sa imuhang inside your matrix, okay, say for example, one-dimensional lang siya na matrix, then it would be easy for you to extract. Okay, di na ta magamit og loop. Okay, so pag ingani lang gani ang gusto na ko na task, slicing lang ang gamiton nimo. Dili na mag-loop pa para lang maka-retrieve og aning na values. Okay? Next is yes.
Ma'am, excuse me naman. Pwede ko magpausap atong first part sa slicing, ma'am?
Okay, sige, sure. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Okay, so say for example, we have a list. So we know that this is a list. Okay, nakaingani siya. Yung symbol. So pag list siya, naka mga different elements. So elements in the list can be of different data type. So ang imuhang slicing, nagi na siya 3 ka-parameters. Start, stop, and step. Okay? Start, stop, and step. So, we have to access each element in a list, di ba? Mura siya naka-array lang po siya, naka-index siya, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So, pwede na ito siya butangan ng step di array. Kung gusto na ito nga na siya specific certain step, like mag-ambak-ambak siya sa ikaduha, buta na siya 2 di ara, pwede na siya, possible na siya. So, again, the parameter is start, stop, and step. So this is, we'll start at index 2 and will end at element 7. Okay? So again, ang iyang i-print is at index 2, start at index 2, and then it will print all the elements na within the 7th element. Okay? So before the 7th element mo na siyang iyang kwaod. Okay? Kung magbutang tawag step, meaning na siya interval, nakaduha. Okay? So, try na to og print na walay interval ug na ay interval. Okay? So, this is with interval or step, and this is with interval or step. Okay? So, if we're going to print that one, okay, so this is the result pag i-implement nimo siya with interval and with step. So, muambak siya ikaduha na element. So, nag-start siya 20. So, this is your your starting, and then index 2, nag-start tag index 2, so dirita 0, 1, 2. So start siya 30, and then moambak siya kaduha, kanaman kay step 1, 2, umana siya nag-print siya 50, and then moambak na po na siya kaduha, 1, 2, na siya nag-print siya og 70. Okay? So, question?
Okay na, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Okay, so kato siya. And then sa ta nag-stop ganina. Okay, so kani siya, pwede pud ka mag negative and positive. So say for example, dili certain number of index ang imuhang range or ang imuhang gusto na stopping element. But gusto nimo before sa pinaka last element dito ka mag-stop. So you can use -1 or -1 kung gusto nimo ang second to the last na element. Okay? So kani siya. Yan result. So pwede po siya yung ani. So pag ingani siya, dili siya katong will start from the last element, dili. Ang yang ginatawag ani is ang element number. Okay? So pag again, pag na siya ingani god, murag minus na sign. Okay? Ibig sabihin ang counting niya mag-start sa pinaka last. Okay? So hantod sa 80 ni siya. Ang last man nato diri is 90. So -1 is 80. And then all but n last element. So gusto nimo i-print ang tanan element except sa last two. Pwede nimo siya inganion. Okay? So, ana. So, wala na to na-appeal ang 80 of 90. So, you can do this one using some slicing methods. Okay? So, permintin inyo ni siya makitaan, permintin natin ni siya gamiton ang slicing. Okay? And then last is a function. Si function, same with other programming language, to create a function or to create a method in Python, you just simply call this one, kani siya, def, and then method name, and then parameters. Kung saan parameters yung mga gamiton. So say for example, n and m, kani siya. So ibig sabihin, mutanggap siya o duha ka elements. Okay? Or duha ka values. Now, dili nimo kailangan i-specify unsang ilang data type. Okay? Not like other programming language na dapat kani string ni and so on. So kani dili siya. Magdepende ang iyang data type sa kung unsang ginapasa sa iyaha. Okay? So what this program does is that kaning n and m nimo diri na values kung ano na to ang ilahang difference. So we have a variable here named diff equals to n minus m, and then you return diff. So kung tawagon nato ning subtract na method and then nagpasa sa tag 10 of 5, madto siya diri na method, and then si n would now be equal to, okay, print na to ha. Print n and then print m. So your n now would be expected to be the value is 10, and then m would be has a value of 5. So kung i-print nato na siya, execute 10, 5, so 10 minus 5 is equals to 5. So simple ano lang siya sa pag-create of method. Okay? In Python. Okay, so far question. Wala. So I'll be uploading this one in your Google Classroom, and kindly check Classroom na ako i-activate na activity para sa inyo na dito. Okay? And then I'll try to explain the activity. Okay, so I've already uploaded the collab file katong sa discussion ganina. So you can check that one out. And then this will be your activity. I think kaya lang man niya siya 1.5 hour. Okay? So you choose any industry. It could be a medical industry, school, or bookstore. May ana. Sample, it depends. Kanang mga maisip ninyo na mga kailangan mag-inventory. Okay, just like akong example ganina na school and the name and so on and so forth. Ana. So any industry na maisip ninyo. So pwede sa bookstore, so na kay book ID, napod kay book title, napod kay book description, pwede yung ana, manang sulod sa mong dictionary. Kung bookstore na siya. Kung medical na siya, na kay medical ID, tapos, again, it's very important na kay ID because ako, gina-expect ani for these activities, magamit mo dictionary. Okay? So now may medical ID and then medical name, medical apparatus name and then medical apparatus description. For example, yan. So it depends on saan nyo ang maisip. Kung into games mo, pwede mo game cards, mga yan na kung saan mga different items na pwede na to inventory. Okay, so choose any you want to work on to. Okay, so individually, mag-isip mo kung saan yung pwede gamiton di ari. Kato ko example ganina, example to siya sa inventory, dili siya inventory but kanang record system sa registrar. Okay, for example, na siya school ID and then student name. So, one of your first task is to choose any. So, you don't have to explain to me what it is all about. Pero, dapat, as a good programming practice, your variable name should be descriptive of what you are trying to manipulate. Okay? So, avoid nato nang mugamit na perminti og A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, yung ana. Okay? Variable name should be descriptive. Second, after choosing any industry, you create a program in Colab that has the following operation. It depends sa inyo ha, kung gusto niyo siya i-implement as a method, ituduan naman mo ganina, ang saan pagkuhan sa method, mag-accept og parameter sa method, pwede po nga naka if statement lang siya. Depends sa inyo ha. Okay, I'll try to see how you are going to implement this one. One method is that it will accept, it should be able to add items in your whatever kaning inyo napili di ari. Second is that it should be able to update, and then it should be able to delete, and it should be able to view items. So these are four crude items: create, read, update, and delete. So 5 points each kung ma-implement ninyo ni siya. And please, if do add comments if you have something to say about the method ninyo ang implement para dali sa kuam na mag-check. Okay? Again, if i-implement niyo siya as a method or just a simple if else then statement. Okay? And then ang input, dili siya kailangan na from the user, dili mo kailangan na mag-choose between what to add or update. Basta maka-add ko, maka-update ko, maka-delete ko, and maka-view ko. Okay, so na ako'y way kung asa ko mo add to sa imong program na maka-add ko, maka-update, maka-delete, and maka-view. Okay, so that's until 3 p.m. And then you save the notebook as TLA02 Python things and then your surname. Okay? It depends on I'll try to be lenient depende sa kung unsa giunsay mo siya pag-implement. Kung maliit ang submission, okay, I'll try to assess kung wala ko'y deduction na ihatag or na ba ko'y deduction na ihatag. Okay, so far, question with the activity. Dali lang ba siya, Sabton? Ma-visualize man ninyo siya? Yes. Ha? Iyo. Dili kaya?
Pwede within this day, ma'am? Or
Oh, sige, I'll try to, sige, I'll extend this one. I'll extend this one until 12 midnight. But be sure na, i-request lang na ako kay last time nagbasa ko sa mga submissions ninyo na naiuban dito na medyo dili kayo siya detailed. I would appreciate it if you could add comments in your implementation. And then, kayo na lang, i-describe na lang ninyo kung sa inyong napili in industry. And then, most likely, mo na inyong gusto na feel ay na industry na kung ano, or mo na yung interest. And then, kani siya ng mga method. Dili lang ni sa inyo, eh. Okay, sige, I'll extend it to 12 midnight. Okay? So,
Thank you, ma'am.
but I'll
Thank you,
still
ma'am.
until
Thank you, ma'am.
if ever na namoy questions. Okay? So, any more question? By the way, i-change na ko, gina-change na ko ang meet link ID just in case na basig nayuban na diri gyapon mo sulod next time. So, anything else? Any question pa?
None, ma'am.
Okay, so if none, you can start doing your activity now.
Ito.
Yes, sa collab lang mag-code, pero if you choose to choose to use your Python interpreter if you have there sa inyong file, pwede yung inyong i-submit sa Quise katong naka.py na file. Okay, so pwede na siya. Not necessarily means sa collab.
Ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
Okay, question, ma'am.
Sure. Saman.
Oh, possible ba, ma'am, sa dictionary, ma'am, is, for example, sa isa ka key na ay duha ka values?
Pwede. Ibutangin mo siya as a list. Ang values.
Sige. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.